What's up, everybody? This is Len the Potter Stacker. First of all, I want to just say thank you to all of the new subscribers for coming to the channel. Sure appreciate you, and if you are not subscribed, I hope today is the day that I earn your subscription. The topic of today's video is my prediction for precious metals in 2022. So, a lot could be said, and a lot has been said about the unreliable nature of predicting the prices of any stock, commodity, asset class in the future. And to some degrees, metal is no different. And yet, we can't allow history to be our guide, right? We can allow for the past, we can allow charts to help us to determine what's going to happen and how events and other things affect the prices of precious metals. So let's talk about some of the correlations, some of the things that are connected. The interconnectedness of the markets is really important to understand, because if you don't, if you look at metals on its own, you're going to be ever disappointed. And we don't want that. I am all about realism, and I am all about crushing the narratives that frustrate new stackers. And there's no shortage of them. So, first of all, let's talk about the connectedness that this stuff has to the dollar, and more specifically to the Forex, the foreign exchange markets. As you know, when there is dollar weakness, metals show a lot of strength. And when there is dollar strength, metals wane. And that is nothing new. And so people look at the current situation that we're in, with inflation being the highest it's been in 40 years, and wonder, why isn't metal shooting the moon? In fact, this was a bad year for metals. If you look at it from a non-stacking perspective and just you look at the charts the way you look at any other chart, we would not say that this was a good year for metals. If you're a stacker and you've been stacking for a long time, then you know that right now metals are down from where they were at the beginning of the year and in the first quarter of 2021. And now we look at the inflation that's happened since we had an election. The markets have all taken downturns, supply chain shortages, and still, we don't see this stuff going to the moon. Why? Well, because the dollar is still strong, at least the perception. And that's all that matters, is perception. People perceive that the dollar is strong. And what you have to understand when I say the connectedness that this stuff has to the Forex, the foreign exchange markets, that's the dollar, the Canadian dollar, the Australian dollar, the yuan, the yen. I mean, there are a number of currencies, obviously globally, that affect this. And compared to all other currencies, the dollar is king. And so as long as people have faith in the dollar globally, well, metals are going to continue to wane in strength. That's why, even in an economic inflationary scenario, even though you've been told, the narrative is that this stuff is going to be a hedge against inflation, it's going to hedge inflation, it hasn't. And that's because of perception. That is because people perceive that the dollar is still strong relative to the rest of the world. So, what do I think is going to happen to metals in 2022? I think you can expect a down year, and not by a little bit. In fact, I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I'm going to say that I believe that you are going to see an ounce of gold within the year 2022 between $1,650 and $1,700 an ounce. That's what I believe. $1,650 to $1,700 an ounce. And I believe that silver is probably going to be in the neighborhood of $17.50 to $18 an ounce by year's end. And I've said it before, I think that silver will be at $15 before it's ever at $50. And people don't like that. People like to believe narratives about this stuff. That, well, inflation is high, therefore precious metals have to be high. No. Forget that narrative. I want you to forget the inflation narrative altogether. And I'm not saying that it's a false narrative. I'm just saying that it doesn't impact metals in the short term, period. It just doesn't. It doesn't. So can we just look at reality? Look at the facts on the ground. We have an election coming in 2022 that is going to massively affect global markets. It is going to have a huge effect on global markets. And listen, I'm an anarchist. I hate Republicans and Democrats equally. I think they're all liars, all right? Washington is Hollywood for ugly people. So when I say that this election coming is going to have an effect, it's not because I endorse anything that any candidate says. It's just history, right? So we have massive inflation, and there's going to be a perception when this red wave comes, because it's going to, that the problems are going to be solved. That is going to drive prices down. That doesn't mean it's true. That doesn't mean a red wave is going to come and fix the world and it's pie in the sky and we're all happy now. It does not mean that. I'm talking about perception. And perception is reality, right? What people believe and what people perceive, the psychology drives these markets. And so people will believe that with an incoming Republican Congress and Senate and many governors, and some of it's just going to happen straight mathematically. There's a lot of Democrats retiring from their positions in office, and so therefore, high likelihood, without an incumbent challenger, that those seats are going to turn red. And there's going to be a perception in the United States, in the EU, in China, in Japan, that the dollar is going to strengthen. And with that perception is going to come a drop in precious metals prices. And so, what am I saying here? Am I saying not to stack? Nope. I'm not saying not to stack. But what I'm saying is that you have to stack for the right reasons. If you continue to stack and you continue to see prices go down and you can continue to see inflation going through the roof and you're like, why? It's because you've believed lies about this stuff. You've believed false narratives. You need to stop listening to these, look, almost every YouTube stacking channel that has over 10,000 subscribers is worthless. They're not providing accurate information. They're providing content that's going to get a lot of views so they can get advertising revenue. Stop pretending these people care about you and start doing research. And I'm not even saying these people are always wrong, but I'm saying they will feed, it's the easy narrative. You see these guys who go into coin shops and they talk to guys who probably should be retired by now, who are saying they're spinning the same narratives that they were spinning in the 70s and 80s. They weren't true then. They aren't true now. Stop believing it. Stop believing it. So that's what I believe. You don't have to believe. You don't have to believe what I believe. You can do what you want. I'm not going to stop stacking. I am going to be transitioning my stacking much more to the gold side of things. I have a pretty comfortable silver position. Premiums are still high. By the way, I predict premiums will drop probably by quarter two of the new year. And will it be significant? I don't think it's going to be the way it was, like 50 cents for generic silver and $1.50 for Eagles. I think we're still going to see high premiums on Eagles because they're still talking about the lack of supply, which I don't believe for a second. But again, they'll get you to believe it, and they'll gladly pass on the high premium because you believe it. So yeah, that's my video for today, guys. And again, thank you for subscribing. I would appreciate it if you liked the video. You don't have to. You can dislike it too. But leave comments below. Tell me where I'm wrong. I'm willing to have a conversation about it. If there's one thing we must be as stackers, which makes us a type of investor, right? We have to be teachable above almost everything else. And again, just shout out to Canadian Junk Silver. Have you picked any of this stuff up yet? If you haven't, you are missing out. So 2022, if I do get silver, this is where my focus is going to be because it's low premium. Same thing with war nickels, low premium. Okay. So shoot, I might even get some 40% Kennedys because of low premiums. Who knows? But what I won't be getting, I certainly won't be getting anything sovereign, anything Eagle. If I do get silver, it's going to be in this vein. It's not going to be the sovereign stuff. So anyhow, that's my video, guys. Have a good new year, and thanks for watching.